Good morning, everyone. Today we are back on our Sunday podcast. Today's topic is Punjab. Detailed topic is what ails Punjab. As all of you know, Punjab has been one of the topmost state relatively as far as India is concerned and prosperous also for many decades. But since 80s, it has started going down. Now from number one, I think Punjab is now 18 or 19. 19 perhaps this year. So what exactly is causing this kind of a state of affair that we have from number one state, we have gone down to a situation where we are in Punjab is in a very dire situation. So today we have with us two academicians who have done lots of work on Punjab. Dr. Sharanjit Singh Dhillon, he's a retired registrar professor from Guru Nanak Dev University from economics department, and Dr. G.K. Arora, he's retired principal from Dr. Ambedkar College, Delhi. He's also from Guru Nanak Dev University. Actually, three of us, all of us are from Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, and from economics department. And we are deeply interested in the subject also because we belong to Punjab. So today's discussion will be around Punjab and what ails it. So I will start my question, my episode, podcast, by asking the question from Dr. Sharanjit Singh Dhillon. Okay, Dr. Dhillon, what ails Punjab? What exactly has happened? Why we are where we are?
Good morning, everyone. If we look at Punjab economy, what we find in present days, I mean, this is a result of path dependence, policy inertia, and institutional weakening. Now, if we look back, I can divide this Punjab economy from 1966 into three structural phases. One is high growth phase from say 1965 to 85 when we had a green revolution. This phase was driven by green revolution. Punjab became India's food basket, and Punjab made India self-sufficient in food grains. Second phase was the disruption phase from 1985 till 2000. Now, this was this time when there was a political instability, there was a militancy, there was capital flight, which weakened institutions. So, I mean, that was a period. What I think that was a period which took us down the hill, and we couldn't recover from that area, from that position till now. And third stage, in present stage from 2000 onward, I'll call it a stagnation phase, when growth slowed due to over dependence on agriculture. Industrialization was weak. We didn't do anything much to industrialize the state. Whether earlier we had a good industry, but in the small scale sector, medium and small scale sector. But during militancy, that was also hit, and governments of different types didn't do anything to revive that industry. So it resulted into a weak industrialization. Actually, I mean, the government should have, I mean, had we had a good governance, then there was a lot of scope for rural industrialization, because we had a developed agriculture, but that was not done. And then there was a fiscal stress till time when more than 3 lakhs of debt is there in the state. So in short, I'll say, I mean, Punjab succeeded early, but failed to transition to a diversified modern economy. So that's what I would like to say very briefly, but as we proceed, we can add a few more things.
But as you see, I totally agree with you. But in addition, if you see, if the Green Revolution was work from Punjab, because Punjab historically has always been standing in the front when it comes to the country. Okay, whichever area you may see, whether it's defense, it's economic development. I have read somewhere that even the 62 war, the contribution from Punjabis, gold, etc., was maximum among all this. Of course, all the other states also contributed, but then Punjab has always been at the forefront. But
Yes.
somewhere, we got into a situation, I think, which is also emotionally making us weak, where we refuse to look and reflect on ourselves or introspect. That is because when Green Revolution happened, people Punjab came in the front, but central government was sponsoring the whole thing, isn't it? Research, etc. So it was hand both sides closing hands to make it a food basket. So anyway, my next question, Dr. Arora, you want to add something to it, or we should move to next question? You are on a mute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Nita. Before really we begin, let me congratulate you for having taken up such a topic, which is common to us and is a matter of concern and interesting, and of course requires to be further introspected and discussed. Having said so, I absolutely agree with the different type of stages which Dr. Sharanjit has talked about. I think the mess started somewhere in 2001 onwards or so. Before that, Punjab has been at the top in terms of per capita SDP and number of human development indicators, etc., etc. But gradually thereafter, it went into what I use the word is deep economic crisis. It was a deep economic crisis, and it was not, of course, primarily led by the Green Revolution's success, which put Punjab in a golden cage, further supported by subsidies and minimum floor prices and not the alternative employment opportunities coming up, what Dr. Chandis has all talked about. But I'll go a step further, in fact. What I'm saying is that these different dimensions, it's not a one-dimensional. Now we have a agricultural stress, we have a serious fiscal stress. Niti Yog very recently has brought out very clearly that for the last at least 15 years, there is absolutely Punjab is ranking the 18th state in terms of maintaining the fiscal health. So fiscal health is absolutely bad, and they are all interdependent, interrelated. The dampening effect, the dampening effect came from the success and not making it further sustainable. I will add that thing only as far as Dr. Ramzi's viewpoints are concerned.
Yeah.
Dr. Sunita, I would like to add something,
Yeah.
one thing more.
Yes. Yeah.
If you look at the growth rates from different periods, the
Yeah.
time I described, Punjab has always been much higher than the national average. And
Absolutely.
presently, we are far below the national average. It's around
National.
6.5, 6.1%, as well as all India average is around 7.4%.
Yeah.
So this is a very serious concern. And I'll call it Punjab's
Even
crisis.
sorry, Charanjit, if you remember, even during militancy, when
Yeah.
situation was so bad, Punjab was still surviving
Yes,
and
yes,
thriving,
yes.
even during that situation,
So
isn't it?
this
But of
this
course, the
means there is.
downslide, we got onto the downslide at that time and started going down.
Yeah, it means now the crisis is structural. It's not cyclical.
Okay.
In economics we teach that it's a cyclic, that it'll come down,
Go
go
up
up.
only.
No,
Yeah.
I mean something has happened to the structure itself. So whether it is agriculture, whether it is industry, whether it's fiscal health, we'll have to, because the present situation is that we don't have much money for capital
Capital
investment.
investment.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Arora, my next question goes to you. As we have, all of us are saying, Punjab has always been a relatively prosperous state. Again, I'm saying it's relative. When I use the word relative, it is in the context of India, not international. But we have always been much, much better off. Our living standard, and wherever we ranked on all the parameters in the country when it comes to the development, individual human development as well as economic development. So what exactly, why we are in this kind of a current crisis? Is it because of our economic policies, Punjab's economic policy? Okay, I'm sorry I'm using the word our because somehow I'm emotionally too much attached with
Yes, we
Yeah,
Punjab.
all, in fact,
So
all three
we
of us.
all are.
unconsciously, I forget to say Punjab. I always, because that is my identity. So I'm really sorry. I should be using the word Punjab. So why it is such a deep crisis now? It's a historical, economic, social, political factors. What exactly, or institutional?
No, you see, let me quickly further substantiate the point where Shandis has left. If you just look at the development process historically, whichever way you look at it, Punjab happens to be the sort of state which defies it, from agriculture to industry to service sector. Look at the dependence on the agriculture, though the share in GDP has come down drastically, but the employment dependence continues to be there. So it's not truly a kind of agricultural development. What we expect in the process of economic development is that when you move from the agriculture, you make sure that the population dependent on the agriculture also move to the industry and the service sector. That's a popular textbook Lewis model explanation, which hasn't happened and that's true in many other states and also true for India, broadly speaking. So I think this is one part of it. The second most important part, the agriculture development or green revolution, which was used as an engine of growth. Now, this engine of growth was caged, what is said in the golden cage. Now, it was caged basically, imagine a situation, no agricultural diversification. The paddy and agriculture continues to have more than 70-80% of the total crop area under it. And as far as the fruits and as far as the pulses are concerned, and even the commercial crops, far less than 4%, not even 1% in the case of pulses. Now, this kind of agriculture, if we are a green revolution product success story, we could have diversified, we made it sustainable. Not only that, you see, imagine a situation. We didn't have a farsight model in terms of looking at the environmental impact. Now, the agrarian crisis, in fact, turned into an environmental crisis later on, that the water recharging capacity is far less as compared to the use. The exploitation is 1.5 times more as compared to the water recharging. So what is happening? Out of the 153 blocks, more than 100, they are the dark zones. There's absolutely no water. And only very few who are just, and some of the recent experiments with the Punjab government has been doing, only 10 or 12 blocks are there where this revisualization has come. That is another super important thing which has come up. Now you see the incremental cost benefit ratio of further adding to the soil fertility or soil health has gone very, very high. Now the cost has gone much beyond as compared to the benefit. So Punjab needs a serious introspection, thinking on redefining its model of development.
Oh, I remember last year when I was home in Batala at my place. So my teacher had come. So I was asking her why we don't move from rice. She's from the agriculture Jat family. So her response was, "Oh, किसी चीज च पैसे नहीं बनते. That we can't make money from the
That's right.
other."
That's
And that
true.
is the trap they are in. Because if they're not able to make money, this was her response. Sharanjit may be knowing better. So, because I said, Didi, why don't we people shift from rice? Why we are so hung up on rice? She said, you can't make money anywhere else. And that is the issue. So, somewhere, I think diversification is the need, and everybody knows it. It's not that people don't know it. And then we are too much stuck with the agriculture. You see the whole country, the way even our food habits have changed. We are into millets, etc., heavily because of its health benefit. Not too much, but certainly, I don't know. Charanjit, you may be knowing what kind of per capita consumption of wheat in Punjab is at present. But my assessment is that it may have reduced over last decades. Per capita, I'm talking about. So generally, people are taking, because as I say, once you become a little bit more prosperous, your grain dependency reduces and you get into vegetables and meat and chicken or whatever it is, no? Non-veg and pulses, etc., to have a balanced diet. So anyway, my next question is to Dr. Dhillon. Dr. Dhillon, tell me why we have struggled to create jobs outside agriculture. And everybody knows, and as Dr. Arora was saying, that's not only in Punjab, but all over India, this guy's unemployment is a very, very important factor, isn't it? People are depending on the same land and they are adding, family members are getting added, and they believe that they are doing agriculture, but actually they are not doing anything in reality. So there's so much of a disguised unemployment. Why we have not succeeded in creating jobs outside agriculture, and not only outside agriculture, but actually after creation, shifting people from the agriculture. Because people who are in the agriculture, many of them just sitting idle without working, rather than taking up jobs in the outside cycle. Yes.
Uh, uh, I would like to add what Dr. Guljit said earlier about your first question. So I'll simply to that I'll say that when you talk about the nature of crisis, it's not a simple crisis; it's a composite crisis. I mean, and fundamentally institutional. I mean, we have economic symptoms, we have social symptoms like we have drugs, migration, which is, I mean, I'm not against it. It's definitely a positive thing in many ways. Declining aspirations. Then we have political symptoms, populism. This is one factor which is very important, and the governments must look into those. Then we have got institutional root causes also. I mean, that's how it is made a composite crisis. Now, coming to your question, why limited job creation outside agriculture? That's what I think specifically you asked about. Now, one important thing is our over dependence on agriculture. So historically, we are though we are now at the almost bottom as far as ranking is concerned, but our agriculture is contributing to state value addition, which is much higher even than the developed states, so-called developed states, around 20 to 23% of GSVA. So this is very, very important. What it means is that in our state, in Punjab, the dependence on agriculture is so much. And same is the case as Dr. Guljit also mentioned, that as far as employment is concerned, and we have really a disguised unemployment as far as the state is concerned. So low industrial diversification. I mean, we as we mentioned earlier, earlier I still remember Amritsar and the area towards there's one town called Shihata. I mean, that was a industrial area, small scale
Industrially.
industries, textile, power looms. Now I don't see anyone. Then we had a OCM, which is still there, but it's not in that, as it used to be. Then we had one Pratap Steel Mills. Then
Oh, yeah.
few factories of medicines. So I mean that has happened through the state. Even Batala, the place you belong to, I mean, that was an industrial town, but now it is not in that way. I mean, because of even the government policies, Batala developed because of one very important policy, freight equalization, that was withdrawn by the central government. So as a result, they didn't have a competitive advantage. Earlier, they used to have competitive advantage, but now they don't have. As a result, now everything, just got down the hill. Secondly, we have skill mismatch. Even if you look at the services sector, I mean, our state is contributing to the value addition from the services sector is much lower than the other states, the developed states. So then there is weak urbanization, though militancy, in one way helped in urbanization, and land prices, I think they are one of the highest in the country as far as Punjab is concerned. But that type of urbanization and the government policies were such that it passed from the public sector. I mean, earlier there used to be improvement trusts or urban development authorities, now to the private sector. So, I mean, that has resulted into a different type of urban development in the state of Punjab. Then the very important part is that we had a very limited, private investment coming to the state during this period. Maybe because of disruption phase, maybe because of other reasons, central policies. Our neighboring states, the hilly states, were given few advantages as far as the taxation is concerned, and much of the industry, migrated from Punjab to the neighboring Himachal. I mean, actually, the aim of the central government was to give them the incentives so that the interiors of hilly states developed. But what has happened over a period of time, what we see is that all areas which are neighboring the Punjab, state, they have developed into industrial hubs. So, so as a result, Baddi, etc. So,
This is the prime example.
So as a result, I mean, much of the investment, even from Ludhiana, Jalandhar, they have migrated to those places. So, and we didn't have a rural industrialization.
If I just add, Dr. Shanti, very quickly, you see, I think the governance as such,
Yeah.
the political party in power probably never had a vision, never had a vision. Various reasons. You see, we have been living beyond our means very clearly. Now, imagine a situation that our own fiscal efforts are down. We started with 12%, 13% own tax revenue, which is now roughly around 5 to 6%. Which you said was the state's own public sector units. We have not been able to find out ways and means to help them. Imagine a situation that during the last 5 years, the fiscal liabilities have gone by 55%. Your day-to-day expenses to run the government, which is known as revenue expenditure, turn now to 85% of the total. What is left for you for the capital infrastructure and capital asset creation? We didn't really have any money, so we never thought of it. So it's a vicious circle. In fact, your current revenues are so much obsessed for financing the current government needs. As a result of it, you are not left with any surplus to put in your public sector units or to create the capital assets, so that you could create industry, so that you could create employment opportunity, so that you could create alternative employment opportunity other than the agriculture. So it was a kind of vicious circle. Then what happened? With the mechanization or the green revolution success, with more mechanization, your demand for labor fell. And as a result of it, the new mechanization did not lead, create a space for the new opportunity. Diversification did not take place. So you went into debt because your cost of production agriculture also rose very, very high.
Yeah.
And
Just
benefit
add,
was
Over
yeah,
mechanization,
so
over
that was another
mechanization.
factor
Yes,
which can be
I
added
will
to it.
just add 2 points more. This is observational, economic base, as well as experiential. That globalization also played a huge role,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least in decimating the small scale industry in Punjab. And
Yes.
while other states were ready to cope with it and ready to have private investment and foreign investment, Punjab never got ready to do it, never used that opportunity to have the investment. Lately, now a few projects which have been there, these Kisan unions, they sit on Morcha and they are very clear they don't want any industry in Punjab. They only want agriculture. I have read these statements over there. And for example, textile park was there. And rightfully, people protested because it was a forest area. That is fine. But then the state government should have made the effort to identify alternate land where it can be done. But it didn't happen. It had been cancelled. There was some, I'm forgetting which other industry was there. A couple of other industries were there. And I read the statement in the newspaper. The Kisan Union said that we don't want any industry. So it is not only the state government didn't prepare for the globalization or did not react and the way other states do, but we also continued whatever way we have been living and managing our economy.
Actually, when you talk about Kisan unions, their protests are, they are not wrongly protesting. They protested for the three laws which were brought by the central government because they feared, and that was a real fear, that the corporate sector will enter in a big way, and their land they'll take over the lands. What we need is, we don't require a corporate, because it's a small state, 2% area of the country. So what you require is industry. They don't say that we don't want industry. They say we don't. Yeah, we want industry, but not a big corporates. A small, a cooperative type of system could bring about rural industrialization. But here the government is not coming up with that type of policies which are required. I mean, this government, I think 4 years have passed. They didn't have any agriculture policy till time. They don't have any industrial policy till time. So if you take so much time in having deciding about the policies, then it's very difficult. As far as earlier we used to say that it's over dependent, and it's still over dependence on agriculture. So as green revolution definitely had a positive also, but now it's a success. I'll call it a success trap. So
Pollution itself has become the problem.
Yeah, what you mentioned,
Now the
that
thing is, and people refuse to react to the new situation and change the way. They want it to continue.
But Dr. Sunita, the problem is, we as a student of economics have been talking about diversification from early 80s. We had a Joule report, and I think 83, 84, and then other. But question is, as you mentioned, do we have any cropping system which is as remunerative as wheat and paddy is? And there is one very important point, that is marketing. Because in these two crops, government is a buyer. It's a unwritten contract farming. As far as wheat and paddy is concerned, unwritten contract farming, that whatever between the government and the farmers, that whatever you produce will buy at a pre-decided price. This is not true for any other crop. Punjab has, as far as Punjab agriculture and farmers are concerned, they have been experimenting with different crops. One, like in your area, Batala, sugarcane. But we definitely had many sugar mills and in the cooperative area. All those have now closed down. As a result, nobody now goes in for sugarcane. Then we shifted to oil crops, oil seeds, sunflower in a big way. But ultimately, because of marketing, that discouraged the farmers. Now, what I see at present, let me give you that now farmers are at their own moving from crops to horticulture, from crops to forestry. So let's hope in the coming years some area from wheat and paddy is shifted. But that required a lot of efforts. There was a policy by the central government to give 7,000 per acre to diversify from paddy, but even Punjab government didn't use that money also to pass on to the farmers.
That particular area
that's the problem of
discussing
governance.
later.
That's
Governance problem is there.
Yeah.
Governance. Okay,
But
just quickly, if I just quickly add, what you are saying is what you said, the government apathy. The farmers doing and trying forestry and agro-based things like horticulture, etc. Had there been government incentivized schemes and systems, probably things would have been much better by now.
Yeah.
Okay, let us move to the next question now.
There is a reason for that. What you said. Okay. There is a lag time between for forestry and horticulture. I mean, you don't get any income for 4-5 years. Had the government supported, maybe by grants, we'll recover it from you when you start getting your income. I mean, some sort of policy would have helped in diversification from crop area to the this horticulture and forestry and any other, even supplementary occupations like poultry, goat rearing, etc.
Let us move to the next question. Just wait, Dr. Arora, I have got only half an hour left. Okay, so we can talk about other issues when we are answering the other questions also. So as you see at present, whatever I know about Punjab, the financial situation of the state is extraordinarily bad. Okay, and it's deeply embedded state. I remember a couple of years back, it may still be continuing. Punjab was not able to retire people. They were asking people to go for re-employment because Punjab didn't have money to pay for their pension and their
Yeah, yeah.
dues, gratuity, etc. So many people had to continue because my government was not able to pay their retirement dues. So same state of affair now, and Dr. Arora, you were talking about earlier, most of the money goes into pensions, salary, etc. And on top of that, the state finance is also burdened with tons of freebies. Now all parties are into this competition. Who is giving more freebies? So no money is left for the capital investment. So what I'm saying is, what role this debt has played in shaping the state policy economic decline?
No, you see, it is not that the debt is shaping the fiscal policy or budgetary policy of the state at all. In fact, it is a sort of remainder in a manner, because if what I said earlier was that if you have been living beyond your means, you are not creating, in finance commission terminology, we always use that you should create a surplus in your revenue account so that you can supplement your capital account so that you can create assets for the state. Now, unfortunately, this hasn't happened, in fact, and unfortunately, the revenue expenditure, which is more like is now has become a committed expenditure. What you said earlier was the pensions or the interest payments and the subsidies for the power. Now those all freebies, they can't. Government required a very strong political will to take them back or to transfer them into cash. If not in this kind of situation, in the public finance methodology, there are always ways that instead of giving the free freebies, you start giving cash transfers on targeted population groups where exactly you need. But unfortunately, this happened. Now, see, debt as a percent of GSDP has gone to the extent of 40% now. If
It,
40%
no,
of your income is to
it's
go,
more than 40%, between
it's
45
more
to
than
50%.
it is 46, 47%
Yeah.
recently, but long back it was far less. The fiscal deficit of a GSDP, which actually should not have gone beyond 3%, is roughly around 4% plus. Now, in this kind of situation, and your own tax efforts are down, and your non-tax revenues are down, you have not been able to mobilize. In such a situation, it becomes a vicious circle, and as a result of it, your infrastructural projects suffer. Let me quickly add something very interesting, Shanjit, that may be a matter of great interest. In
Mhm.
2003, there was a trust which is known as Sri Aurobindo Socio-Economic Management Research Institute. All kind of issues which we are talking about, this brought back in 2003. And
Mhm.
one line which is very fascinating to me, I just could find out early in the morning today. And what you said, the just something very different from what we have been talking. Market-oriented non-budgetary fiscal flows to states. Now, Gujarat gets 6.6%, Haryana gets 1.3%, and we get far less than 0.5% or so. This was way back. And this report very clearly brought out this kind of vicious circle, which we are now. The first opening line of this is, after experiencing more or less a consistently rising rate of growth, at least to the up to the 80s, it witnessed a declining rate of economic growth in the recent years. Its adverse implications for other sectors of the economy, particularly the industrial sector, and the ensuing economic dangers threaten the rural society, leading to the debt. This is 2007 study, which by chance it happened to by notice, and it talks about all those public sector units, the non-budgetary support, even the central government's at times non-supportive policies. For instance, in the central budget 2020, there's no mention of Punjab, and it's so serious in crisis. It's so deep in crisis. It's very surprising. So this kind of center state coordination policy making framework is also very important, which is required.
I
Actually,
agree, but
fiscal
then
situation is underemphasized in the state.
Mhm. But
Nobody
then you
nobody
see,
emphasizes it.
I read it somewhere, which I was talking to people earlier, that in an article somebody has written on Punjab, that it was stated that Punjab has always been anti-center, whosoever may have been in the power. As Sharanjit the other day was talking about, that Punjab has generally been anti-establishment. Whosoever is in power, the people are. And now also, and the worst case scenario which I see, and it's very painful for me, I'm very emotionally attached with my state because we have become such a cry babies. We're always pointing fingers towards everyone. This person is responsible, this government is responsible, this is our own responsibility. Punjabis are not taking what they are doing because of prosperity. Punjabis were able to do things on their own and they didn't pay that much attention to the governance. And now the governance is the critical issue. That's what Sharanjit was talking about earlier. All the parameters of governance is poor. So why industrial growth is so weak over there, Dr. Sharanjit? Is
You
it
know,
only because of governance
yeah,
or it is also because of other
as
factors?
as we I mentioned, even Gurjeet also mentioned that one point is that over dependence. Secondly, but what I see is that we don't have any large scale industrial ecosystem in the state. We have limited integration to global value chains. Our power substitute distortions are there. I mean, industry says that it's more benefiting the agriculture than industry. Then there is always, as we were, when we were talking earlier, I told you that there is always a policy uncertainty. If government changes, policy will also change. So there's a policy uncertainty,
Yeah.
then there are bureaucratic delays, then
The focal points you were
yeah,
talking
as I
about.
mentioned earlier, there's a poor urban planning.
Urban
So
plan.
even there are governance factors also. So we governance has deepened the stagnation. I mean, slow approvals, contract enforcement issues, low investors confidence. And earlier we had a militancy, now even gangsters, etc. Gangsters and peace for investment. Peace is very important, and that has to be ensured by the government. No individuals can't do that. So I think uh, uh, it's wrong to say that we didn't have an industrial base. We did have an
Oh,
industrial
yes.
base, but it was in the medium and small scale industry. But we were getting around 20 to 25% from industrial sector. It was not a bad statistics. But over a period of time, we couldn't.
Sustain it.
When we were taught in development economics that as agriculture develops, industry will develop automatically. That's what theory tells us. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Reason
It didn't
being
happen all
that
over India.
yeah,
It's
because
not only
yeah,
India.
we have jumped over that platform
We moved from
from
agriculture
agriculture
to
to service sector
service
itself.
sector rather
Yeah,
than industry.
yeah, but in case of Punjab, that didn't happen. Even that jump was not there in case of Punjab. So I think we could have done much better had there been food processing and incentives for food processing industry in the small scale. And let me tell you, we were moving towards that direction in the early 80s. But Punjab had a maximum number of shelling industry, rice shellers. But
Specialists, yes.
during militancy, that was all destroyed. So it means food processing industry in one form was coming, but something happened which was beyond the control of even the governments.
If
So
you
that
remember,
Sanjay,
yeah,
just
no,
quickly,
even
if I add,
militancy, even
uh,
during militancy, people were not feeling as insecure as they're feeling insecure now.
no, yes,
Every
you're right.
time,
just
You're
to
right.
be
quickly,
very frank,
Perfectly.
last
Yeah.
just
time I had
quickly, if
gone
I add,
home,
Dr. Smita, just
last
quickly,
time I
just
had
to
gone
what
home,
Shamli said,
there was
all
just a minute, Doctor. Last time I was home, and it's a small town, very small town. Just there was a shooting in front of a restaurant.
Hmm.
Okay, there was some extortion. We have never heard it. When we were growing up, we have never heard it. We have never seen it. These kinds of crimes were totally unheard of. And a young man standing close by got shot and he died. Our neighbor's son. It was such a heart, and this is happening very, very frequently. We have never heard about gangsters. The word was not in existence in
Oh, yes,
Punjab,
yes.
the way it is now. So
I
we'll
mean,
move to the next question now, Dr. Arora. How serious is the drug abuse crisis in Punjab, and how migration, etc., is
Yeah.
impacting our
I,
issues?
before
Because
Dr.
there's
Smita,
lots of
yeah,
issue.
before Dr. Smita delve into it, I just quickly add what Shandeep was talking. Those were all sort of background hardcore factors, including your extortion you were talking about. Now, the hardcore, equally important hardcore factor, resultant factor was that states' absorption capacity also got reduced. If you, why I'm saying is that the credit deposit ratio and the investment ratios in the state drastically fell. All kind of non-budgetary channels of investment flows in Punjab fell very drastically because of all those factors, and this brought the absorption capacity of the state down. That was the supplement to what Dr. Shetty was talking about. As far as the drug abuse is concerned, it's very unfortunate. In fact, it's very very unfortunate that 15 years before I was traveling in a Tonga towards district Amritsar. एंड दे वर टॉकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि ये बंदा धुएं पे चलता है कि पानी पे चलता है सो मेहमान प्राणा देखते कि प्राणा आया धुएं पे चलता है पानी चलता है संजीत विल बी इन पोजीशन टू अंडरस्टैंड सो आई वाज वेरी क्यूरियस टू आस्क यार व्हाट इज मीन इससे जी आजकल ये जो गांजा पानी चल रहा है ये तो धुएं वाला हो गया और जो जो पानी है दारू वाला है वो हो जाता है तो ये हम लोग पहले ही पूछ लेते हैं कि जो मेहमान आया है वो हाउ टू बी हैंडल्ड सो द पॉइंट आई मेकिंग इज दिस वन ऑफ द recent surveys which was probably reported in Tribune or some other media, they say that roughly 50 to 60% of the farm households, they report that at least 1% is dependent on drug abuse and drug substance. And
Almost
unfortunately,
everyone has a personal experience somewhere or the other,
yeah,
very
that is
close
number
by.
one. Number two is just something which is very, very important is there is a very, very strong nexus between the political class, the drug trade, and the police. I think the political will is required to dismantle it. This is something which is required. No,
Nexus,
not only
this
that,
nexus
to-
is very
Nexus and
strong. This
3% of the population, 3% of the population, one or the other way is dependent on drug. That is what the media reports say. And there are some villages where you find that they're totally down with it. Clean. I mean, there are some examples. There is a village which I was told, I was reading somewhere that this is a village of widows only. All they have gone. And there's some villages, they have become the total
even
cancer
in Amritsar,
prone.
there's area. In
They,
Amritsar, there is
cancer prone, these are the very serious symptoms of drug abuse leading to a social distress. And particular important component of it is the youth. This is your rich demographic dividend gets belied. In fact, if we find that the major part, 40-50% of the youth is suffering from this kind of abuse, that is the tragic part of it.
Okay, let us coming to the closer. A couple of questions, Dr. Dhillon. What institutional reforms you think are going to play a good role in taking us off the downslide and then putting us
yeah.
on the
You
upward
know,
journey? Because we cannot just because before we get onto the upward journey, it is necessary to push ourselves from the out of the downslide, which we haven't been able to do it.
you know, we have three sectors: agriculture, industry, and services sector. Now, agriculture, there's no problem as far as agriculture is concerned. It's a develop. Though we had a problem of monocropping. I mean, that is one thing, and that has also got negatives as far as ecology is concerned, soil health is concerned, water is underground water is concerned. That I mean that has got all negatives as far as these two crops are concerned. But what we require is that we should do something so that our industry comes up again, maybe in the medium and small scale sector. For that, you require time bound approvals. You are required to rationalize the subsidies. Subsidies, as far as subsidies is concerned, now this government gives 300 units free to all across the board. I also for a few months didn't get. I get a zero bill, and I thought, man, I must pay for what I must pay for the electricity which I've used. That's a wrong policy across the board. You're giving to everyone. You at least now you're giving 1,000 rupees to every woman. I mean, you have to rationalize the subsidies and use that money somewhere else. Employees are crying for their DA areas. They're crying for their other areas, salary areas, but they're giving all this freebies. There's a free transportation for women in Punjab. You can travel to any. I mean, you have to rationalize. A lady who may be getting 1 lakh rupees, salary, maybe a school teacher or nurse or a doctor. I mean, they don't require any free travel. So you have to rationalize those, subsidies. Then we must improve our tax administration. There is always, a lot of leakages, and I don't hesitate to say that whenever you just see the person who have retired or are serving in a taxation departments, they are one who enjoy a different type of lifestyle. So it means there is something wrong somewhere as far as tax administration is concerned. Then
That is known as a good posting. Achhi
yeah,
post hai.
yeah.
So
and
good
and
posting
we
is not
will
based on delivery of service, but
yeah,
good
yeah,
post is
and then
based on what is the economic incentive of
yes,
being there.
then also we will have to, as far as education and skill is concerned, we'll have to do something to align our skills with the requirements of the industry. In Ludhiana, if you look at the workers, they are not Punjabis. Majority of them are non-Punjabis. I mean, it means two things. Number one, either we Punjabi youth are not willing to work in the industry, or we don't have the skills. There are two things. So I mean, if first is right, then there is an institutional problem. I mean, there's a sociological problem, psychological problem. So we'll have to, we always like to have white collar jobs. Uh, if I look around, what I find is that in Punjab, all sanitary workers, they are non-Punjabis from Odisha. Odisha people, uh, they have a control over the
Plumber,
plumbing
all plumbing as an industry.
plumbing industry in Punjab. All this flooring, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੱਥਰ का or tiles लगाना, I mean, it is done by Bihari or Uttar Pradesh workers. Even your paint for your whitewashing, etc. They're all majority of them are non-Punjabis. If you go to vegetable market, you will ever find a Punjabi selling vegetables they're all. I'm not against the migrant workers. I am for migration because we Punjabis, we will if we can move to the places which we call green pastures, then they also have a right. I mean, if you create a space, somebody will come and occupy that state.
You
So,
remember, Sharanjit, Dr. Johar used to say ages ago, Punjab is India's America.
yes,
I still remember.
yeah,
He
yeah,
used to in the 70s, the Punjab
yeah,
is India's
yes,
America.
yes. No,
It used to
this
be.
this is a
But even
fact.
now, this problem is people of Punjab have stopped working in these, not only in these
Yes,
fields.
even in
One of my
agriculture.
very
I
close
mean,
friends.
this may annoy many of my relatives, even the Kisan unions. And whenever my friends, there are a few friends those who work with the Kisan unions, they call me for some lecture to the farmers. So I even tell them there, okay, we have stopped working. I generally say, okay, farmer ਤੇ ਬੈਲੀ ਢਿੱਡ ਇਹ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਢਿੱਡ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਆ ਤੁਰੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ they
That
are not
means they are
working
not working.
they are not working so
Yeah.
there is a problem. There is a problem that even we have stopped working. Working the matlab, we just want to be a manager now. I mean, we want to manage the things, and that's why we always, many majority go in for shortcuts. That's a problem.
Trend
Even
in Punjab.
gangster problem, etc., is a result of all that. And I'm worried about one thing that in the coming times, when it moves to the lower strata of the society, it won't be the government, nobody will be in a position to control it. I mean, we must think of our education, our
Consequences.
skills, etc. So that you mentioned Dr. Johar. I still remember one of his because he used to say a few things that he also lagda si pi ye nahi hai. He used to say that you will have to create a situation ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ neighbors ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ if you give them one job, they'll buy a scooter, then they'll work hard to buy a car and so
Keeping
on.
up with the Joneses.
Yeah. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes.
Keep up with
So
the
so
Jones.
that is now that I mean they want to keep up with the Joneses, but not by working.
Okay. That's why
Demonstration
gangsters are. But as I was
Even
saying,
migration also. People thought that if you move to sorry, Canada, Australia, UK, America, so definitely there are opportunities. Work opportunities are far more in those countries than. But the type of jobs they're doing there, I mean, they can also do those jobs
they
here,
don't
but
like
they
to
won't
do
do
it
it.
in Punjab. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I was saying, my friend always say he's from Punjab government. So he retired from there. He used to say that people, if you go to the rural areas, young men are just sitting idle all over and refuse to do anything because file lagi hui hai.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They are not even studying.
Man,
Okay,
let me
now
tell
I
you.
believe people are going back to the colleges. This is what I
Yes.
read and I heard because of
Yes.
Canada, whatever has happened
Yes.
in Canada,
Yes.
people have started going to the colleges. But as per my information and whatever data I gather, people refuse to go to go for study, joining college or even working because file lagi hui hai. The only issue was कि file के which country.
Earlier, the area I lived, Ranjit Avenue, there were a lot many Ails centers and migration centers. So the number of students used to be far more in those areas than in the colleges, Khalsa College, DAV College, etc. And the university had a good,
Okay,
enrollment.
so we have 5 minutes left. My last question to both of you, and Guljit, first you can answer, then Sharanjit can answer. How the Punjab economy, society, as well as the state as a whole be revived? Should it be through only policy, or there should be some state capacity building also?
No, let me tell you. In fact, when you evaluate policy making system, one should be very clear that what are your strengths. We still have very super strong strengths as far as Punjab is concerned. We basically are hard work. It's a different matter that we don't want to work in agriculture. We still have a sharp point, and demographic dividend can be recovered. In fact, now we have 95% of India's woolen netwear in Punjab. 95%, I'm saying. 85% of the sewing machines total all India, and 75% of the sports goods, and 40 to 50% of wheat and rice. We are still contributing to the nation. This is a strength. Another set of strength is the diaspora network. It's very unfortunate that our share and the remittances which have come down from 10-12% to now 6-7%, but still it can be sustainable and can be made use of. Now, this is one set of the story. The state must create a fiscal efficiency unit in the government to work out how the expenditures is going, what is the quality of expenditures, how the expenditures are being financed, and what are the social outcomes. You see, policy making is one, implementation another. output creation is the third, and the social outcomes are fourth. Unfortunately, I don't think that Punjab have ever thought of and visualized that all kind of policy which they were, even including focusing on green revolution, that they ever thought of that what would be the social outcomes. Otherwise, the grazing crisis or the environmental crisis would have been avoided. This is never visualized. The third set, which is in fact bothering, is the government system. You see, imagine a situation if wheat, paddy can be incentivized to minimum support prices. Why can't the other crops be done? Why can't central intervene if it is so come?
This AAP had promised but didn't do it. They said they
That's
have
what I'm
state will
saying.
do.
That is what I'm
Actually,
saying.
they declare MSP for 23 crops, but
23.
they don't enter
They
the
didn't.
market to buy it. That's the problem.
That's the
Okay,
problem. That the
Sharanjit, over.
policy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I'll simply say that what you require is a economically viable, socially inclusive, and ecologically sustainable system.
Sustainable. That's yeah.
And for that, I mean, it has not happened over a period of time. Punjab doesn't lack resources or talent. We have
Oh,
resources, we have talent,
that's right.
and but because of this delayed structural transition, weak institutions, then policy paralysis, you can say that we are where we are. And for me, way forward is that restore state capacity, diversify the economy, rebuild your youth's confidence, and Punjab, can move from stagnation to renewal. So, but that requires deep structural reforms, not short-term populism.
I will
Uh,
quickly add, Sharanjit, quickly add one thing which is now becoming so important, and even at the national, international level, we are trying to be the AI leader. I think the time has come that Punjab, which is much easier rather than looking into a number of things, AI skilled, incentivized,
yes.
informed, and empowered farmer.
Mm.
Until unless your half of
Yeah,
your problems will be over.
one thing
Because
which
you
is positive, as Sunita said, that farmer unions, now I think the most informed section of the society is the farmer. So, I mean, we should use their energy positively.
First.
that's
And
what I'm
and
saying.
and that
Let
for
them
And
get
that,
they,
under let
yes,
them
man,
get
for
I
organized.
me,
think
let
no.
let me
I
let
think
just
first they have to understand and recognize their own energy.
they,
And
they do
they
understand. They
have
do
to
understand.
channelize that energy
मैं
towards
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ I
positivity.
just want to say what Punjab is lacking today is a good statesman leader. If
Exactly.
we get one, then
Can be.
everything will fall in line. So let's
Absolutely.
hope, pray to God
Absolutely.
that
Yes.
something positive happens.
Happened. I think that is
Let's wish
all
all
of
the
us.
best for the human factor of Punjab.
Yeah,
Punjab. We are still very gung ho. Every
yes.
time I go with all the adverse circumstances around us, we are still gung ho. I mean, I'm again sorry because I forgot to use the word Punjab. It is always way, 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 because that is the identity and that is my
Maybe you
emotional
should use it
Yeah,
and
proudly.
even the startup
physically
culture is missing. We have such
physical
brilliant youth.
attachment. So we all wish that our state gets on the upswing and start its journey upward again and become number one state. But this is possible only if political and bureaucratic system in
Yes.
the state
Stay in
work
place.
together, which in my experience, I have seen it is not functioning the way it should.
It
Or
should.
frankly speaking, I have always found with all other ills existing in the southern states too, but those states have much better governance than states in the north, specifically Punjab. Other states have taken up and they have become better. Himachal is better. I think Charanjit does have a point about incentive, but at the same time, we should not forget that there is Haryana also who's doing better than
Yes.
Yes.
Punjab. So it's not only Himachal, it's not only incentive. Whatever policies and the way our politician and bureaucracy has been functioning and working, I think it's very discouraging for the people. And then, of course,
Let me mention just one. You know, Punjab is a landlocked state, but it has got a route which is very important as far as international trade is concerned. But this political uncertainties and with the neighboring states,
it's not taking, yeah.
you open up Wagah border, it will add to 2-3% to our gross state domestic product. It will provide employment,
Yeah,
and we will get
maybe
cheaper goods.
okay, Dr. Sharanjit and Dr. Guljit, we will discuss this topic next time. As we
Yeah.
said that even though it is a little bit parochial topic, but this was very close to my heart as it is to all of you. And since Punjab's contribution in the country in all sectors has been huge since independence, so we want to be there again working for the country, for its people and for ourselves. So, and thanks a lot. It was very interesting, very lively discussion, and I'm sure our listeners are going to enjoy it. Thanks a lot, Dr.
Thank you
Dhillon and
so
Dr.
much.
Arora. Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay,
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
bye.
much,
much.
Smita.
Bye. Thank you. God bless
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.